Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. And don't be so serious about this day. It's only a day, okay?
But actually, no. By the time you guys are seeing this, it's the day after Valentine's Day. But happy Valentine's Day to those that are doing a weekend special. And if you're celebrating your Valentine's Day today and not yesterday, I don't really know what to say about that. But we won't get into that too much. As it's the Valentine season, the reason for the season, today's topics are going to be all about love and romance and relationships. But don't worry, I will be putting my own spin on things because I don't want you guys to fall asleep. Sometimes I watch relationship content and I'm like, we're not doing that today. I feel like I'm gonna try to give a fresh perspective, something new, something different, something. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. It's not gonna be like your typical like man versus woman Valentine's Day. Who should pay on the first? We are not doing that here. I hope you guys enjoy it because I feel like I'm gonna enjoy it. Like the topics. Some of this is what I actually feel, but let me not say too much. Let us actually get into it. There's no segments to this. I'm really just gonna talk and chat and yap. You know? It literally feels like I'm on FaceTime. So I'm just gonna say whatever comes to my mind. But the first thing I wanted to talk about was, of course, as it is the Valentine's love romance season. What actually does Valentine's Day mean to people? We can't, me personally, I don't feel like today we can say that Valentine's Day is about love and it's about romance. Like it's supposed to be, but similar to Christmas, we can't today say that Christmas is about well, I can't say that as a child of God, but we can't, as a society, as a world, we can't say that Christmas is about the birth of Christ and the coming of Christ. We can't say that because of how much the meaning has been like taken and then just suppressed. Same thing with Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is supposed to be about love and romance and appreciation, which I'll even get into all of that. But my iPad. We can't say it's about that anymore when it seems like the focus of Valentine's Day is the gift giving. It's about lust. Like, I just think of something. But yeah, it's about lust. It's about gift giving. It's about the actual like relationship in terms of like people's relationship status. People want to know who is dating who. Why has she randomly posted flowers? Who got her those flowers? Who is he in a hotel with? Who is that in the background? That's what, to me, Valentine's Day is about now. It's no longer about just the genuine expression of love and romance and admiring the person that you're with and just celebrating them for that day. But what I want to say earlier is, why are we waiting for Valentine's Day for us to celebrate people that we are dating? You're meant to celebrate them every single day. It sounds so corny, but I think every day should be Valentine's Day. Obviously, realistically, you can't make every day Valentine's Day, but in terms of Valentine's Day being the day that a lot of people in relationships decide, like, yeah, let me make him or her feel special. Yes, let me do something nice for her or him today. Let me actually, they always tell me that they love this. Like, they might always say they love when you cook a certain thing. You wait for Valentine's Day to be the only day that you do that for him or her. I don't think we should be doing that. I think doing that all year round, like expressing that love and that care that you have for that person year round, is more important than waiting for one day. That being said, that doesn't mean that when this one day happens, you don't do anything because you think, well, I do it every other day. No. Still partake. And it's about partaking if you know that the person that you're with cares. Like, let's not just, I don't see the point in Valentine's Day. We don't want to hear that. We don't. partake. If you know that if something matters to the person that you love, it should matter to you. Point blank, period. I feel like Valentine's Day has definitely become performative. Sometimes I wonder when I say certain things, because how do I compare it to the past when in the past I didn't care? Meaning, I was a child. Why would I in primary school care about Valentine's Day? But so I can't really, I don't know. Was it less material when we were younger? I want to say back in my day. I'm still in my day. But yeah, was it less material when we were younger? But I can definitely say today, 2026, Valentine's Day is so about showing off. Like, I truly do feel like it's about showing off. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I definitely think there's a lot of performance. Like, there's a lot of people who are in relationships that are only experiencing true romance or romance in the way they want to experience it when it's Valentine's Day. I don't think that's okay.
To him, by the way, happy Valentine's Day. And he says to me, but mommy, where is the love?
Like I said, there's a lot of people who that's the only time you maybe like show off your partner or you appreciate the stuff that your partner does is Valentine's Day. And it feels very much like competition. Who gets the best flowers? Who gets the best gift? Who gets the best decorated hotel? Who gets the best experience? It's very much like looking at what other people are doing. And I just, like, I truly feel like a very beautiful Valentine's Day can be as simple as a night in, cook for each other, watch a new movie or watch whoever's favorite movie or watch your favorite movie together, do some little in-house activities. Like actual in-house activities. I think that's a really beautiful Valentine's. And that also leads me to something else I wanted to say. The whole idea that Valentine's Day is only for women. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I feel like I see two sides, and of course, well, there are women that say it as well, but there are men, a lot of men do feel like Valentine's Day is only for women, but it makes me wonder, why do they think that? Because nowhere in the terms and conditions does it say that Valentine's Day is only for the girls. But is it that for Valentine's Day, there's just this expectation that the man does and goes above and beyond to make the woman feel special, and he doesn't get anything in return? Like, his Valentine's Day is maybe booking a hotel, booking a really nice experience, getting her a gift, getting her flowers, maybe a card, something really nice, and then in return he gets. Is that the reason why a lot of men don't feel like Valentine's Day is for them? Because to me, it's for everybody. And so long as you have a person that you love, you should be experiencing Valentine's Day. I don't see why we shouldn't try to make it special for the man. But then again, I do feel like because so many guys say, oh, it doesn't matter, I don't care about Valentine's Day. If you don't care about something, why would somebody still, I mean, if you're anything like me, somebody telling you they don't care about something that's motivation. For me, if you tell me, oh, I don't care about my birthday, or I don't care about Valentine's Day, I don't care about XYZ, and I know it's something that you should care about, I'm going to be like, really? I'm going to be the one to show you why you should get. Maybe that's not a good thing. I don't know. I don't see a reason why you shouldn't try to do that. But of course, like I said, a lot of guys downplay it, or a lot of guys say, no, like, I don't care for Valentine's Day. And because you say you don't care, there are some people who will say, oh, okay then. Well, I guess you won't get anything. So maybe we need to start putting more effort into making Valentine's Day not just a girl thing, make it an everybody thing. But then there's probably some girls that are like, no, which is actually really funny. Another thing I wanted to speak about, Galentine's Day, which probably today is even a lot of people's Galentine's Day. Well, I mean, when you guys are seeing it, it's probably a lot of people's Galentine's Day, or 12, 13. I just wanted to talk about that because I was doing some pondering, and do you guys feel like Galentine's Day is truly to celebrate girlhood and love and loving your sisters, your friends, or is it to make up for the fact that you don't have a man that's taking you out? What do you guys think? Because it actually plays back into the whole idea that Valentine's Day is for girls. I have never seen no brilliant. What would a man's Valentine's Day? Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day. I've never seen no Valentine's Day because men just don't care. But it makes me wonder as well. Like, I think with Galentine's, obviously, this is not a general thing. I actually hope I don't get like stoned for this, but I don't think it's a general thing. But I do think that especially when Valentine's Day comes around, there are a lot of women who get upset by their singleness. Like it's almost like singleness is a crime. I'm not against the Galentines. I would love to go to a Galentine's. So no, I'm not a hypocrite. I'm not. I promise I'm not. But there are actually a lot of women who being single was almost like this like embarrassing thing, and they get sad and they get down around Valentine's Day when they're seeing other people be celebrated or loved on. And it makes them sad and it makes them think like, oh, like I wish that was me. Do we feel like do we feel like Galentine's Day is an effort to like make up for that? So it's like even though you don't have a man, like you have the other love, you have other types of love around you, which is the girls. Do we feel like that is what Valentine's Day has been introduced to do to like compensate for that? Because something that I even realized is that a lot of people will not do a Valentine's Day unless they are single. But then as soon as you're in a relationship, now you're celebrating that season with your man, and then you've forgotten your other friends that you wanted to celebrate with when you were single. And I think, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I think obviously it makes sense on the actual day you will celebrate with the person that you're dating. But I don't know. I don't know what I think about that, because it kind of brings to me the whole idea that for a lot of girls, when they're in a relationship, they abandon their friends and they prioritize their partner. Like, their partner becomes their world. Oh, that's even something that I was going to speak about, but their partner becomes their whole world and everything is him. You put all of that effort into him, and then your friends kind of get put on the back seat. And then once that relationship ends, now you want the support of your girls and you want the support of your friends. Like, yes, like, let's do Galentine's. But your Galentine's is because you're upset that you're single, not because you truly feel like, yeah, Valentine's Day is about love and I want to celebrate it with the people that make me feel loved, which are my friends. I don't know. I'd actually love to know what you guys think. Because I'm thinking right now, I feel like I sound like a pessimist. And I'm not a pessimist. But yeah, I do think that when we get to this period, a lot of people start to feel the burden of being single. And they start to feel like, oh, like I feel like I need to be a part, and I feel like I need to celebrate or need to look as though I am being celebrated by someone. And it's okay to not. Reality is, if you're not being celebrated by a partner, you are being celebrated and loved on by so many other people. So maybe we just need to get into a space where we're not putting so much emphasis on relationships and putting them on this pedestal where when they're not there, we put everything else on a pedestal, and then when the relationships come into our lives, everything else starts to kind of like go down. I think it should be a very much equal and like level playing field. Moving on, one of the things I want to speak about as well is the male loneliness epidemic. I actually don't know much about this. I had to do some research. So of course I will be looking at my iPad. But yeah. Essentially, the male loneliness epidemic, in case you also didn't really know much about it. Like, I think on TikTok, well, on social media, but on TikTok especially, there's so many like buzzwords that you just hear be said: nonchalant, avoidant, emotional intelligence, narcissist. Oh my gosh, the amount of content that I see about narcissists and narcissisms and avoidance and did it, like sometimes I'm just like, why do you guys keep telling me this? Why? But yeah, male loneliness epidemic is another thing that I see all the time. So yeah, let me actually walk you guys through it. The male loneliness epidemic is essentially that in today's society there is a huge number of men globally who are experiencing higher rates of, oh, I should include trigger warnings, isn't it? Little trigger warning. I was actually given that feedback. Oh, anyways, they are experiencing high rates of loneliness, of depression, of suicide. And this comes from the idea of men being lonely and suffering from feelings of isolation, like socially. This can be through relationships, it can be through friendships in their community. And they feel like they have a lack of real, well, let me not say that before they get attacked, but they feel like they have a lack of true, close friendships, emotional support, and overall, like, just a genuine. You know when you hear a noise and then you get scared? I heard a noise and I'm like, what? Anyways, they just feel like there isn't a true and genuine interest in their lives. So, for example, in conversations, they might find that people aren't really trying to know too much about maybe their day, how are they doing, how are they feeling, is there anything they're stressed about, is there anything they're worried about. There isn't that like genuine intrigue or interest in the way they feel like they put out, which is quite interesting. But I actually wanted to look at that and think, why is it that there is this epidemic? Like, women aren't experiencing these same feelings of loneliness and isolation. So why are men feeling that and we are not? So yes, like I said, I made some notes that I wanted to discuss because I had a few reasons as to why I feel like men experience this. So let me pick up my device. The reasons that I had is emotional socialization. So I feel like, of course, we know that men are brought up being taught not to cry, not to burden others, handle things themselves. And of course, these are things that they are taught from childhood. And these things genuinely stick. Like, I literally always say that I truly feel like we as people are just big kids. Like, we're just bigger children in the sense that we are products of our childhood. So if you, of course, this is not like a blanket statement, but I feel like a lot of the times, if you went through a lot of traumas and you experienced a lot of toxicity in your childhood, chances are, as you grow up, you will have certain traits that are reflective of that childhood and are reflective of the toxicity that you were raised in. So yeah, I just feel like a lot of us are very heavily influenced by what we experience, what we've gone through, and of course that doesn't change without like first recognizing, wait, this is not a good trait, or maybe this is a positive trait, but also understanding why you have that trait and where it stems from. And I just think, yeah, like it truly does inform a lot of how we go about life, a lot of how we feel about certain things. So I think, of course, from young, if you have handle things yourself, if you have don't burden other people with this or that, or you should cry, like be a big boy, like that's something that you hear a lot of young boys be told when they are expressing their feelings and their emotions. So from childhood, it's carved into your skull to put a cap on your emotions and what you actually show. And I actually got an A in psychology, so I'm going to put that to use. Well, in A-level psychology. But I think if we look at it from like this lens, like from a from from a psychological lens, we can actually look at conditioning, which is basically that we are trained through experiences. So with classical art, Miss Cook would be so proud of it. If you were in my A-level class, or if you did psychology A-level, you know about Miss Cook. But with classical conditioning, we start associating certain things with emotional reactions. With operant conditioning, we repeat behaviors that get rewarded and avoid the ones that don't. So I think in the whole idea of the male loneliness epidemic, you can actually see both of these playing out and you can see why it happens. So if a man is expressing his emotions and every time he expresses his emotions, there might be fear. Let's say the emotion might be anger or frustration. Then the person who's on the receiving end of that emotion is like, like they're scared, or not that they should be scared, but you know what I mean. They might show like, oh, they might feel intimidated, or they might feel concerned or worry, or he might show perhaps a softer emotion, which would be sadness. And let's say anytime he expresses those emotions, he's shut down and he's told to bottle it up, or like be a big boy, or be a man, like take it like a man, handle it like a man. The less he won't repeat that action because it's not being rewarded. Reward would be him being encouraged, or him being comforted, or him being consoled, or maybe like leveled with, understood. If he doesn't see that he's receiving that, naturally he won't show it, which I think isn't even just a man thing, it's for a lot of people. If you're expressing a certain thing and you aren't receiving the reaction that you want, chances are over time you just think there's no point of expressing that. So that's my little psychology tip. Tip? Psychology facts. Tip? Facts? I don't know. But yeah. And I think as well, there is definitely a pressure on men to mature faster. Whether or not they actually do, I don't know. But I do think that there is a pressure on men to mature faster and handle things in a much more like almost stoic way, and in a way that doesn't show struggle. And I think as well, like if you look at culture, well, not even just culture, I think globally there is a standard that a man will grow up to be the head of a household, he will grow up to be the leader of a household. So he almost has to be this pillar of strength, because not only will he have a wife who is depending on him in different ways, but not only will he have a wife who is dependent on him, he will have children who are depending on him. And then as the parents grow older in certain cultures, then especially like the eldest son, the parents then kind of become like his responsibility. And you just grow up with knowing in the back of your mind, I'm going to get to a certain age where everybody is dependent on me. And I think women have that same feeling as well. But I don't think it's engraved in us as early as it is in men. So, for example, a girl in primary school, well, I don't know. I actually don't know. But if I speak on my own experience as somebody who is African, I am the eldest daughter. In primary school, there was definitely little things that my mom said, but there wasn't this pressure of, I don't know, like the pressure came as I got a little bit older. But I think for certain boys, that pressure of knowing knowing how to handle things, it comes pretty early. And I think when you are raised to be this like pillar of strength that everybody can lean on, and you can withstand anything and nothing really that gets to you, who then is your pillar of strength? Like, who do you then lean on, if you even lean on anyone? Because I think it's definitely very hard knowing that you're gonna have an entire family that is dependent on you. You're gonna have an entire community dependent on certain cultures that are dependent on you, and then of course like just figuring out life as an individual. So I think that pressure definitely contributes as to why certain men feel lonely and like depressed. Like that pressure can definitely lead to depression for sure. And another thing I think as well is that romantic relationships tend to become like an emotional hub. Like, I feel like relationships in general are very emotional things, and they require certain things from you that might not be required from a relationship between two friends, from two siblings, a parent and a child, cousins, family members, all of that stuff. There's just an extra level of emotion that you need to give. And I think because a lot of men grow up bottling things up and handling things themselves and being super self-sufficient, being super independent, when they do get into relationships, it can either go one of two ways. It can either be because he is so used to handling things on his own, he can't open up here. Like, how can you expect me to open up to you when I've never opened up before anyways? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not something that you could just like turn on like that. And not just that, well, not just that side. It can either be that where he refuses to open up and give that emotion, or at least on a deeper level, or he can end up seeing that woman and that relationship as like his outlet, which can be a good thing and a bad thing. It can be a bad thing in the sense that that's a lot of pressure to put on one individual. Yeah, it's definitely not a burden, but it is a lot for one human being to be the one who receives your stress, your anger, your sadness, your happiness, your joy, your frustration, your all of that on one individual is a lot. Like, it definitely is a lot. And I think it's better for there to be a balance. Actually, and this is something that my mom says to me, you don't even need to have 1,000,001 friends. If you have even one friend that you can talk to, it's so important that you have that one person. The way I see it is your partner is already dealing with their own emotions, and emotions being higher because relationships are just very emotional. So there's already the emotions over here. Then if you are somebody that doesn't open up anywhere else, and this is the only place that you open up, you already have your emotions here for relationships. Like, that's kind of your baseline. Like, they're just heightened because this is somebody that you love and you care about and you're intimate with and all of those things. Then you having, as an individual, your extra emotions takes you from here to here. And it just becomes such like a pressure cooker. Like, it becomes such a high pressure situation, which can either make you really strong as a unit, or it can contribute to why things break down little by little, like just kind of chipping away at the relationship. So yeah, I think, like, as well, for a lot of men, if they only see their partner as their emotional outlet, when that ends, there's trouble. I think, and there's trouble because they don't necessarily have another emotional outlet to fall back on. Like, they've only seen a romantic partner as the only person that they can be vulnerable with. So then you go back to that feeling of loneliness because you had this person who you were pouring out all your feelings to, not even just like romantically, but you're pouring out all your feelings to this person about just your life and the stresses that you have as a human being, just going through life and experiencing things. And of course, your romantic feelings. And when that person is now no longer in your life, for whatever reason that may be, you feel isolated because it's like, damn, the only person that I was talking to about XYZ is now gone. So now who do I talk to? Now who do I confide in? Now who do I lean on? And naturally, when you feel like you have no one to lean on, take like relationships aside, when you feel like you have no one to lean on, you are bound to feel lonely and you are bound to feel isolated. So I think that definitely does contribute to the whole idea of the male loneliness epidemic. And another thing as well is that I think a lot of male friendships, they don't call for vulnerability, they don't call for softness, they don't call for emotional openness. Like, I think there are some men who are okay with being friends with another guy who never opens up about anything. If he's going through anything, and that guy might disappear for like 5 days, come back when he's ready, he's not phased. He doesn't necessarily feel the need to like dig deeper and find out like, oh, like what happened? Are you okay? What are you going through? Something I even thought about yesterday when I was just thinking about all of this is in relationships, when relationships end, how am I trying to word this? Cool. If your male friend, so this is like two male friends, if as a guy your male friend breaks up with his girlfriend and he's down or he's going through or he's heartbroken, are you checking in? Because I know, like, obviously how me and my friends are, we are checking in on you constantly. I'm checking your location, one, see that you're not where you shouldn't be, but I'm checking your location, I'm calling you, I'm texting you, and we're sending like 1,000,001 voice notes, like really trying to dissect the situation, trying to understand how you feel, trying to maybe see where the other person might have a point where they might be wrong. We're really trying to understand and unpack the situation together. Are men doing that with each other? Like, is a man messaging his friend like 4 days after he's broken up with his girl and being like, hey, like, how are you feeling? What do you feel like you want to do? What do you feel like you learned from the situation? Is that happening? I'm gonna ask some of my friends when I'm done here. But I'm actually gonna ask some of my friends because I don't know if that's something that happens. Like, I don't even know if they're checking in. But yeah, I just think that's such a great example. That is such a great example. Like, there's just a certain level of openness that us women have with each other that men don't necessarily have in their friendships. Sometimes, in some cases, because for example, with me, if I was to break up with somebody that I'm dating and none of my friends message me or checked on me or like asked me, how are you doing? Even if I tell you that I'm okay, if I tell you that I'm okay and you take my word for it, maybe that's like me being whatever. But I think even if I tell you that I'm okay, there still should be just that wanting to be sure as a friend. Like, are you really sure? Are you sure that you're da 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 da? How are you feeling now? There should be a check-in at some point. There definitely should be. And even outside of that, I think I speak with my hands a lot. I just feel like I'm doing. But anyways, another thing that I think is we as women require more from our friendships than men do. I think I might have said that already. I don't know. But I do truly feel like we as women require more from our friendships. The emotional side. We as women, I don't see a woman being able to call someone her close friend and this is not someone that she has opened up to. This is not somebody that opens up to her. Whereas I feel like with a man, that's okay. Like, yeah, that's my boy, that's my brother. But you guys don't really level with each other. But he could still be a close friend, but there isn't that level of like just being open. And I think that's another difference. And that could also be why certain guys feel lonely. Like, I think there are some men out there who want to have those type of friendships and maybe are struggling to find other guys that might share in that feeling and sharing that sentiment. Or if it's not that, I don't know, maybe they just don't know where to meet those type of people or it's not something that they're used to. But yeah. Plus, communication wise, with women, I think we sometimes not overly communicate because that's a bit, but we communicate a lot. As much as girls, sometimes we just kind of sweep things under the rug and don't say anything, and we'll have this secret like. I do think that we communicate a lot of stuff, like from things as little as a birthday dinner. Like, you didn't come to my birthday dinner, now I'm upset at you. That's not people say. A man might say that, and he might feel like, damn, like, why didn't he come to my birthday? But he might not necessarily say it. He'll just maybe take note, or he might just brush past it. And I think as women, because we communicate so much to our friends, that loneliness feeling isn't necessarily there. Because obviously, depending on the person, If you feel a way about your friend not being there for you, you'll talk to her. If you feel a way about your friend not supporting you, you'll talk to her. Whereas for guys, I think they sometimes don't want to be seen as that like emotional guy or that emotional friend or that friend that's like super. I don't even know what word I want to use. Maybe emotional. I think I said that already. But yeah, I think there are some guys who don't want to be viewed as that. And so rather than expressing the fact that they feel a way that no one checked on them or no one messages them for this or reaches out to them to find out this or that, they just bottle it up and then kind of just seclude themselves more and more and more and more and more. Even like leaning into the whole idea of women having relationships that sometimes are maybe a little bit more intentional, because I think men making friends, I kind of feel like it's easier. Like they have a lot of like outdoor things. They've got their football, they've got paddle, they've got whatever it is, where you go out and you can just casually meet people and just slowly become friends. Like guys will be friends with people from just looking at each other. You've seen him in your area a couple times, and now over the weeks, over the months, over the years, this is somebody that you're cool with and he's your friend. Whereas with a woman, I don't really feel like we have that. I feel like we kind of go out of our way a bit more. But as it pertains to the casualness of like male friendships, I think online interaction can sometimes replace that like face to face intimacy of friendships without fully meeting the emotional needs of like you, like as the guy. And I think like as well, when we think about hobbies, men do have like a lot of online hobbies. Like they have the I was gonna say PS2, PS5. They have Xbox this. They got all their games that they play together, like all of that jazz. But they're not exactly settings where you'll come and voice your concerns about life. Like you're not gonna be playing Black Ops whatnot and be like, guys, my mother is really putting a lot of pressure on me and I just don't. That's not exactly the same for that. But if you think about it, that tends to be like prime. What's the word? It tends to be like the not the hotspot, like the most frequent meetup. Like if you don't meet up with them in person, you know that every single day you could speak to your friend and it could be on that like platform. But in those days that you're playing, you're not coming and talking about your feelings and like da 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 da. So it's like, when do you get the chance then? If you speak to somebody every single day, but every single day that you speak to them, it's in a social setting that is a lot less feely. Like we're here to have fun, we're here to laugh and da 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 da. When do you get that chance then to speak to them? And just casually say, hey, so da 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 da. So yeah, all in all, I think the standards and the roles and the traditions and the expectations that we had of men that are so dated, that they're literally old ideas and perceptions about masculinity, they don't work and they don't apply for today's generation. And I think we've been knowing that. Like, we've been knowing that they don't apply. And those things include, I mean, nowadays you're kind of seeing more and more like women talk about men needing to be a provider and more traditional roles, but things like wanting a man to be stoic and not be emotional, a lot of women are saying that they don't want that. They don't want a man who is stoic. They don't want a man who is like people don't want that. People don't want it, and they don't necessarily. Well, come see, come sad. Some women do want a man that is dominant, and then there are some that don't want that. There are some that want to feel like they're on an equal playing field. Like they're just society is not don't are like healthy. Society is just not what it used to be. But of course, we are still trying to navigate the changes in like masculinity and the expectations that we have for men in a different age, and where trying to navigate that whilst these new expectations that we have aren't being set. So we aren't seeing, well, I don't know, I haven't been to primary school in years, but like, we aren't teaching young boys from young that no, you can cry. No, you can be angry. No, you can be frustrated. You can show emotion. You should be talking to people. I don't think that is being taught or enforced as much as it was being enforced back in my day. Something that was really interesting is when I was looking online for just like more opinions on the male loneliness epidemic, something that I saw was that a lot of women say that it is self-inflicted, which um I won't necessarily say that it is self-inflicted, but I can see where it's coming from in the sense that when, as I was saying before, there are women who are calling for men to be emotional and to express their feelings and to be vulnerable, but there tends to be this like, what's the word? What's the word when somebody has a rebuttal? There tends to be this rebuttal. So, for example, in a relationship, a woman and a man are dating, and the man is going through something, and rather than talking about it, he disappears or he shuts down and doesn't say anything. But because he's going through such a tense situation or whatever, he is now kind of taking out those tensions on his partner. Fine. In that situation, the woman might be like, "Oh, why don't you talk to me about what's going on?" The generational line is so many guys have. If I tell you, what's gonna change? If I tell you, it's not gonna change the situation. And it's like, well, this is why some people are lonely. Because when you do have an opportunity to open up and you do have an opportunity to talk, and there is somebody that is showing interest in you individually and your feelings and what you're going through, you focus on things being solution based and not dealing with the emotions, when dealing with the emotions can sometimes help you find that solution. Or speaking to someone can sometimes help you find that solution. Take out this whole scenario. In life, there are certain things that you might be going through that don't get resolved until you speak to someone. Let me give you guys an example that is so unrelated, but I remember being in, I think it was year 8 or year 9, and I randomly developed eczema. I had never ever had eczema, never had any skin issues whatsoever. Now, this is my first time. I became so insecure. I had eczema like here, the back of my, what is this called? This. Oh, I hope my socks aren't dirty. Oh, I just knocked my balloon. Goodness Neil. Yeah, I had it on the back of my, I don't know what's that's called. You know your knee, the back bit. There, I had it there. I had it like here as well, and I was so embarrassed. And because I was so embarrassed, not to say that it's something to be embarrassed of, Lord, please help me with this. But I was just very insecure because, like I said, this is my first time ever experiencing any type of like skin issues. Me and my mom tried everything to get rid of it. Like, if I tell you some of the things that we were doing, you would honestly say, "Oh, you guys dumb." But we literally tried everything to get rid of the eczema. It was summer, it would be hot. I remember going Burgess Park in the summer, and I would be in jeans, socks, and them Adidas sliders, and a long sleeve top because I didn't want anyone to see that I had eczema. Like, that's how embarrassed I was. And I was keeping it to myself. Obviously, we'll do PE. Sometimes I would skip PE because it was that bad. I remember skipping a sports day because I was embarrassed and I didn't want people to see it and look like it was that bad. It wasn't until I told one of my friends what I was like going through, and that was because she just made me comfortable talking about that. And she was a very open book. But it wasn't until I spoke to one of my friends, she literally, first of all, made me feel so good and made me feel like, girl, it's okay. It's normal. This is normal. But I spoke to her, of course, like, she made me feel better about myself. She told me about one cream. From that day, have I ever had eczema? No. And think about the fact that when I didn't speak to anyone about it, when I didn't tell her about it, I was there literally like suffering in silence to myself, being insecure, sweating my hits off in summer, in jeans and long sleeve and socks and sliders, because I didn't want to tell anybody, like, yeah, like, I have eczema and I'm looking for a cream to da 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 da. But the minute I spoke to my friend, and it cleared up so fast, literally left no scar, no mark. Like, as if I never had it. And it was insane to me that for like a good year, I was dealing with that. Now, I'm talking, I've gone to the GP, nothing's worked. Like, that's how bad it was. I spoke to my friend, and that, it was gone. Like, something that I had been struggling with for like a good year, just like that, was done because I spoke to someone and I spoke up. So that's just an example of how sometimes not speaking, you run away from your solution by shutting your mouth. Sorry, why am I being so rude? You miss the chance to resolve the issues that you are experiencing by thinking that you have to deal with things by yourself. I think in those ways it can sometimes be self-inflicted, where, like I said, there are people that want to support you and want to help you, but you're so stuck in your ways. Oh, a saying or expression that one of my friends taught me about, a very wise little lad, is having a teachable heart. I feel like there's a lot of guys that don't have a teachable heart. You can't tell him jack. You can't tell him nothing. You can't tell him nothing. And I think, you know what I mean, there's a lot of people like that in general, but when you don't have a teachable heart, you will suffer. As direct and whatever as it sounds, you actually will suffer. You'll find yourself in certain situations longer than you need to be. You'll find yourself in certain situations point blank that you shouldn't have found yourself in. Just so much unnecessary palaver that comes from not having a teachable heart. So yeah, I definitely can see where the male loneliness epidemic comes in. I don't know if it's necessarily an epidemic, but of course, like, if you look at that statistically, trigger warning again, trigger warning. Men are more like, Lord, men are more likely to take their own lives. So it's definitely not a made up thing, but I do think it's something that can start to be worked on. I hope that doesn't sound insensitive, because I don't want it to sound like. So yes, moving on. There was a few little things that I wanted to talk about. I feel like I'm probably gonna, they all kind of interlink, so I'll probably be jumping. But something that I wanted to actually discuss is emotional intelligence, and whether or not emotional intelligence is a strength or a weakness. Well, I think it can actually be both. Well, that was my conclusion, but that's for you guys to think about. Do you feel like emotional intelligence is a strength or a weakness? And I say weakness because it kind of reminds me of the fact that there are a lot of people who feel as though them being so observant can sometimes be a weakness, because being so observant and clocking onto things so much and deeping things and internalizing things so much, it can genuinely be so draining. Like, at what point will I stop thinking? I don't want to think anymore. Like, it genuinely starts to take a toll on you. And I think it's the same thing for being emotionally intelligent. So I have notes. I think emotional intelligence can empower you. It can give you great people skills. It can make you someone that a lot of people see as a safe space, as a comfort, because you just are super in touch with your emotions. Well, not just that, you have that understanding of other people's emotions and other people's experiences, and you're able to level with and reason with people, I think, a lot better than somebody who does lack that emotional intelligence. Like, having emotional intelligence saves you from certain situations. For example, I could say something to you that hurt your feelings, and I probably didn't intend it that way. But if I have that emotional intelligence, I can think, okay, let me put myself aside to understand why he or she is feeling this way. Even though I know you probably misread it, I can put that aside, what feels logical, and I can put forward the emotion at hand, which is at the end of the day, you're hurt by what I said. So it's on me to rectify that and clarify, one, but to make you comfortable and reassure you. And reassurance is not always, it's not a thing that's specific to love and relationships. Reassurance is in friendships, is in sibling relationships, is in parent, child, any type of relationship. Reassurance is so important. Whereas somebody with low emotional intelligence or none will think, well, you didn't read what I said properly. Well, you interpreted the wrong way. Well, you didn't understand what I was saying. Or you didn't listen to what I was saying. Where's your intelligence? But I think on the flip side, having emotional intelligence can truly, but this is only the case if your standards and your boundaries are not strong. I want to say strong. I'm talking. If your boundaries are not strong, your emotional intelligence will actually floor you. Like, you're done. You're genuinely done for. Like, it can really, really weaken your boundaries because you feel like you understand everything. And that's me. That's me. I don't think I'm always right. Or 9 times out of 10, I am right. But I have genuinely suffered from that. Like, somebody will be outwardly disrespecting you. Outwardly, well, when I say disrespect, I mean lack of consideration, not thinking about your feelings. I'm not coming out just. But I think I have definitely fallen victim to allowing my emotional intelligence to put other people's feelings before my own and put other people's well-being before my own or put other people's happiness before my own. And at the end of the day, the only one that's going to pay for that is you. Nobody else, just you. You on your own. And you're the one that's going to be left regretting the fact, like, oh my gosh, all that time and it especially stings when that person takes the first opportunity that they get to put themselves first, they do it. And then you're like, well, what about me? Because what happened when this happened to you, or you said this, or you did this to me, and rather than me lifting up, I was cool and calm and collected and felt like, you know what, I know why you're saying this. You know what, I know why you're acting this way. I know why you feel this way about this. And now they've shown you, well, they didn't ask you to do that. You didn't have to, you chose to. I feel like I feel like I'm reliving something. Anyways, yeah, like I truly feel like your emotional intelligence can truly sometimes be your own demise. Like, it can genuinely bring you down if you're just not solid. Like, solid in who you are as a person and solid in what you're gonna stand for, solid in what you're gonna take, what you're gonna tolerate. Your boundaries need to be on point. Like, I'm talking unshakable. Like, unshakable. And if they're not, you're gonna find yourself always prioritizing somebody over you because you want to be considerate and you want to be caring and you want to be understanding and you want to be, I don't know, I think sometimes in relationships as well, sometimes we can idolize, or not idolize, we can idealize the idea of like going through all of this stuff and making it out of the other end like in one piece. Like, yeah, we came out of it stronger. Or I think as girls, is a lot of women want to be the reason why a man has healed, or they want to be the reason why a man is emotionally available. They want to be the reason why a man is a better version of himself. And it's like, that's where the ego comes into it. And it becomes less about him actually being better and it becomes more about you. Because you want to be the one that takes credit for why all the other girls that he dated got the worst. They got dragged through the mud. But now, because he's met you, he changed for the better and now he's this amazing person. He's so sweet. That makes it, that's no longer about him. That's about you and your own ego and you feeling like, yeah, I really made him a better guy. Like, yes, that's good and all and it's lovely, but if that doesn't happen naturally, leave it out. Leave it out. But I think because so many women have that desire, you start to use that emotional intelligence that allows you to understand why he says certain things, why he reacts in certain ways, why he feels this way about that. You use it, but it doesn't pay off. Like, it doesn't pay off for you. It might pay off for him because maybe eventually, due to all your overly understanding, he gets it. But you're the one that's left like traumatized. You're the one that's left experiencing cognitive dissonance. Oh, hallelujah. Actually, the one that's left experiencing cognitive dissonance. You're the one that's left thinking, feeling used, even though he didn't actually use you. You used yourself for him. Your emotional intelligence, it shouldn't be limitless. It needs to have some sort of bounds and restrictions where you can be emotionally intelligent, but you can also respect your boundaries and respect yourself and your needs and your desires, and not put somebody on this like pedestal. And it literally reminded me of a TikTok that I saw. If I can find it, I'll actually like put it on the screen. But it spoke about just the idea of limerence, and that a lot of people, not just women, a lot of people idolize relationships, and they idolize that feeling of being chosen and that feeling of being wanted, and they idolize not the true relationship that might have certain difficulties or certain issues and not always be the most fun or exciting. They idolize the fluff. Let me call it fluff. What feels good, what looks good to other people. And of course, when you idolize relationships, it's never ever gonna end well for you, like ever, like ever, like ever. And limerence as well, like limerence, I will put up a definition because I don't know the definition word for word, bar for bar. But from what I understand, limerence is having this like infatuation with a person, but it's not with them per se and them and their character and their nature. It's more the feeling that they can give you. It doesn't even have to be sexual, but it's just the feeling. So it's that kind of like liking the idea of being with someone, and or liking the idea of them, but not truly liking them. And I think, yeah, when you idolize relationships, limerence and idolatry relationships, they just go like this. They literally go hand in hand. So I think this Valentine season, let's stop idolizing relationships. Like, let's stop feeling bad about the fact that you're single. Let's stop feeling bad about the fact that just don't. I think what is best, and oh my days, there's an influencer called Monet McMichael. She's the first person I ever heard say this, and when she said that, it actually stuck with me. But she said that a relationship should be, hey, how can I say it stuck with me and I can't remember? But yeah, like a relationship should be an addition to her. It shouldn't be making up her. She said it in much better words, but yeah, like, if I'm putting my words then, I really feel like a relationship should be an addition to something that is already whole. It shouldn't be making you whole. Like, a lot of people are not whole individuals alone, like by themselves. They need that other person to be like their other half or their better half. Why don't you become your own better half? And then as you do that, somebody may or may not come along the way, and like, they might match up with that. Like, why should you be a lower version while somebody else is the better version of you? Or they exhibit the characteristics that you wish you had when you could do that yourself. Like, do you know what I mean? Why not be the best version of you? Work towards being the most like elevated, best. Like, I keep saying like, but yeah, why not be the best version of yourself? So that you can also meet the best version of somebody else and not have to rely on somebody else being better than you or making up for where you lack. When in reality, we're all capable of being that best version. We're all capable of having those characteristics that somebody else has. You can have them too. Oh, I really, no man. I need to get into motivational speaking. I'm so good at this. But yeah, I think it, as I was saying, like, it literally plays into the reason why a lot of people find themselves in situations and relationships back. The limerence, the idolatry of relationships, you aren't comfortable being by yourself. You
Don't stay with a man because you want a Valentine. Okay? No, don't do that. All right.
not comfortable being alone. Why? Why don't you like to be by yourself? Why don't you want to be with you? You is great, but I feel like there's a level of insecurity. Personally, I think there's a level of insecurity that is there if somebody cannot be alone. Like, can't. When in reality, you always be with yourself, so you have to get used to it. Like, you'll always be you. You can't run away from you. You can't leave yourself in Peckham and then you go to New Cross. You have to get used to yourself. And you have to deal with it. And you have to see, it's like if you have to deal with it, you might as well like the person that you are. I mean, it's easier said than done, but I think, yeah, no. It just gets so dark when you can't be by yourself and you constantly need somebody else to validate you, or you constantly need somebody else to make you feel good, or make you feel like you feeling and you experiencing. Hey, you know when you start speaking and it's just you feeling and you experiencing should not be dependent on somebody else, and it should not be, your happiness should not rely on a relationship or the presence of a man or a woman. Hell nah. Hell nah. And another TikTok that I saw literally said that the man is your hobby. And it's like, again, another TikTok that I saw that spoke about the fact that men don't center women the way that we center them, especially when it comes to relationships. It's so rare, in my opinion, to see a man put his girlfriend or put his partner on this pedestal where, now I don't know about that. But for example, like cutting off their friends, a woman will be willing to cut off every last friend so long as her and her man are still together. A woman will go to her friends and ask for advice, and then when they tell her the truth, now she's looking at them weird and saying, "Why are they talking about my man like that?" Now you're distancing yourself from your friends because of a guy. I don't think we see men doing that. I don't think so. I don't think so. Or a woman who will dedicate her entire account to my man, my boyfriend. The man has become your hobby. He has become your hobby. Like everything, or you might speak to them, every single sentence has to refer back to their boyfriend. No, like, honestly, like, you know, my boyfriend, like, he literally, like, no, but I love that he said that because my boyfriend, this is why my boyfriend, let it chill, calm it down. I just think, oh, women, we have this greater desire for love and romance and relationships that men don't really have, or they don't have it as strong as we have it. Like when we think about, and this is where I was really starting to cook, but there are certain books that are targeted at women understanding men, like Why Men Love Bitches. Not gonna, ooh, I can't swear. I don't want to swear with you, but that book, Why Men Love B Words. B words. Girl, grow up. But Why Men Love. I haven't read that book, but from what I know, it's about men and understanding men and how they approach relationships. You will see relationship gurus like the Shara Sevens, the Wizard Lizard too. I even need to talk about her, but not like that. But yeah, women are looking up to all these people in this like desperate attempt to understand men. There are certain seminars that a woman will go to. There are books, like I said, being targeted at women understanding men and relationships and how to be the dream girl, how to do this to keep your man. Like, it's just, I just don't know who came up with this, who started this. Why is there such a massive emphasis on women and love and relationships and having a man and being able to keep a man? Like, you'll see people make fun of a woman because her boyfriend cheated, or they'll be like, you couldn't keep your man anyways. Why is that funny? And as well, I think in TV, oh, pop culture, but in TV, a lot of the times when you think about the sad person who's desperate for love, it's the woman. Like there's the whole idea, even when you look at it, if you really want to talk about it, a man who is single is seen as this young, hot bachelor. And then the woman who is single is seen as this like sad, lonely, like cat lady that she's gonna die with like 96 cats in her house. Whereas a man, even let's say a man who's older, is this like playboy, he can't be tamed. Why? Like why is it always the women that have this pressure to be in love and have a partner, and men aren't really showing that much pressure in the same way? And one of my like shows that I really like and that I started watching, well, I finished it now. I literally binge watched it. Sex and the City. I don't know if anyone that is watching this has watched it, but if you have, you should. But please don't watch it when you're around any family, because me, I don't know why I didn't expect it to be about sex. It was so sexy, like so much sex. When I was watching it, I couldn't believe it, and I was thinking, how? There's no way this show came out like in the late 90s. In the show, Sex and the City, which, like I said, is such a great show, but it's so heavily framed around singleness being an issue and relationships being fulfilling. There's literally this line by Miranda, who's one of the characters, who was talking about the fact that them as women who now have these like successful careers, they're established, their focus is men. Like she literally said that they are like seventh graders with bank accounts. Like nothing's changed from that age. What's seventh grade in America? I mean, here, I don't know, but from that age where you might be like a little bit boy crazy, which I feel like a lot of girls, you have that moment, but as a child, leave it there. But like of being boy crazy. But now these are like fully grown women who are still boy crazy, and it's like you have the money to do anything that you want. You can go and have all these experiences. They live in New York. They have these like really lavish, well, like two of them have really lavish lifestyles. Miranda works in a law firm, and Carrie, who I genuinely feel like is the most male-centered character in that show. She has a column in a newspaper. Like they're all doing things with themselves, but they don't. Their focus is like, oh, I don't have a man. Especially Charlotte, who I actually love Charlotte, but she sometimes just took it. Let me not even start dissecting the whole show, but essentially that whole show shows you that a woman can be successful and she could be doing well for herself, but so long as there is that absence of a man, it almost feels like it doesn't count. Like it feels like you have everything but one thing, when a man could have a really like illustrious, I learned that word recently. If it doesn't make sense here, then ignore me. But he can have this really like illustrious career, doing very well for himself. He could be maybe a little bit older and he's not married, and he isn't thinking, oh, I have it all but one thing. So why do we as women feel like in order to have it all, a man needs to be a part of that? So yeah, just overall, that idolization of relationships, it doesn't do women much good, like at all. And I feel like your self-worth, when you idolize relationships or you idolize a man, your self-worth is riding on him. Like your self-worth can be shaken by him. If he makes one move out of the ordinary, now all of a sudden you're questioning yourself and you feel like you're not good enough, or you have issues, or you're this person that isn't worthy of love or any of that stuff, when it's just not the case. But because you've allowed your self-worth, the foundation of your self-worth, to be a relationship or a man, it's always going to feel that way. Like it's always going to feel that way, and you just become so volatile because he is who you use to make yourself feel good, which I think is really sad. Another thing is that if you have set a foundation of you as an individual, like your foundation is strong and you're a whole person, you can walk away the minute you don't like anything, which I don't know if I've ever said this before, but not ever. I don't think I've said it on here before or in this video, but I think obviously we're all human and we all make mistakes. I don't think you should walk away the minute somebody makes a mistake, depending on what the mistake is. I think we are all deserving of grace and we are all deserving of second chances. The Lord gives us many chances, so who are you to not give somebody a chance? However, I think it's again boundaries. When you have rooted your self-worth in just not even a relationship, when you've rooted your self-worth in another human being, your boundaries will always be weak. Like, another human being can't set your boundaries for you. You have to set your boundaries for yourself. And I think that's why you see so many people put up with certain things for the sake of companionship. You're more focused on the idea of being in a relationship or having a person around and having this man or woman who makes you feel good than you are your own happiness and your own well-being and your own self-respect and your standards. That ain't it. That ain't it, girl. That ain't it. Oh yes, when I said I want to speak about like Wizard Liz, I truly feel like, and we've seen it recently with everything that's gone on with like India and Dami, which is like, God. I personally, I don't really care about the India because it's not for me to care about. Like, I'm not in the relationship, but people need to get off, like, come off the line. I hate it, and it genuinely makes me like when I see somebody come online and be like, if Beyonce could get cheated on, what hope do we have? Oh my god, why are you talking about yourself like that? Why do you feel like Beyonce is better than you? She's fabulous, but why do you feel like another human being being cheated on means that you have no hope? Do you have any faith in yourself at all? Or like when what's her name, Christy, Sarah, and Desmond broke up, and people were like, "Oh my god, they seem so happy." Yeah, that's why the word "seemed" is there. Seemed doesn't necessarily mean it's the case. Seemed is just what it looks like, what it appears to be. But people will be losing their heads. Oh my god, there's no way he did. Like, people are so invested in celebrity relationships, which I can understand because at the end of the day, you're a celebrity, there's this like fascination with them and what they get up to in their lives. But it's just crazy to me the way people will almost start like not even almost, they start speaking negatively over their own lives. What's the word? Yeah, what chance do I have of making it? What chance do you? Oh my lord, like why why is literally the only word I have to say, like, why? It's just the whole like parasocial relationships is scary. Like, there is no reason why India and Dami breaking up should make you lose hope in love. Are you okay? There is no reason why what's her name? The Wizard Liz getting cheated on should make you lose your head. And I think as well, the idolization of her too. I just find it so weird when anybody idolizes anyone. But the idolization of her, I think because she makes content talking about relationships and talking about how to treat men and how to make a man respect you, and then she got cheated on, people like, why should that be a shock? We don't know her, so one, it shouldn't be a shock when something happens to somebody that you don't know personally, and two, this is why you just have to figure stuff out for yourself. Like, I'm actually not the biggest fan of, not even the biggest, I'm not a fan of just taking relationship advice from people that come online, because first of all, they're making money. Like, you're gonna say what sounds good to get that paycheck, but yeah, no, like, just, I think more people need to work out relationships for themselves. Like, because the reality is, yes, this person has like 1 million followers and their lifestyle seems amazing and their man might like splurge on them, but there's no rule book. They don't know what, they just got lucky maybe. They figured it out the same way you need to try and figure it out. You can't live life by somebody else's rule book, because who's to say that the outcome is going to be the outcome that you get? the last thing that I actually want to talk about is is the difference in men and women when it comes to like going through things, which I've already touched on anyways, but really and truly the overarching theme is the idea of somebody wanting to be with you, but then not, like them maybe not being capable. It's a really difficult one to navigate because obviously a lot of us women are used to the saying, if he wanted to, he would, which I do think if somebody wants to do something, they would. If I want to open the door and walk out, I will do it. What's stopping me from doing that if I want to do it? But I just think it's not always that straightforward. And sometimes we shoot ourselves. Somebody calling me. Hello? Alright, wait, let me pause this. So I think a lot of the times we'll find ourselves scrambling to know why it ended. What did I do? What happened? What changed in him? What was he thinking? What was his thought process? And you're not always going to find those answers. So telling yourself, well, if he wanted to, he would, is a very easy way to escape that. Like, it's a very easy way to just shut that down. Like, okay, my mind doesn't need to start doing like backflips because reality is if he wanted to make it work, he would. If he wanted so and so to happen, he would. But I think it's not always that easy. I think somebody can separate themselves if they... I'm with your minds. Relationships are too much work. I don't like this anymore. I'm going to wrap the video up because I don't even know. But I do feel like sometimes somebody can truly want to be with you, but they know where I am right now and what I have to offer is not enough for this person. And so I need to head out. Like, I think sometimes we underestimate the impacts that being with the wrong person, we underestimate the impact that being with somebody at the wrong time can have on you. Being with somebody you're not supposed to be with, or being with someone at a time that you need to just lock in and focus on yourself, can absolutely, this is your path and you're over here. Completely shift you and just move you to somewhere you don't even know what you're doing there. So I think sometimes you just have to accept it. Just be willing to accept that, okay, this is not, there doesn't always have to be a necessarily bad ending to things. And I think that's something that a lot of people are uncomfortable with. I think I literally said this in a video. I don't know, but it's sometimes easier to move on when somebody does you dirty, to withdraw yourselves from that person, than to move on when it wasn't just overwhelmingly bad. I don't know if anyone else will agree, but I personally think that, for me, if you give me the utmost disrespect or you hurt me so bad, it's okay, you win, I'm done, I'm gone, I'm out. But someone still being loving and caring towards you, but they're just not being quite there, is so hard, because you do think, well, if he wanted to, this would be this way. If she wanted to, this would be that way. But all in all, you just need to drop that idea. But I do think that as well, sometimes we give up on things too quick, or we give up on things too easy. So, for example, with men, a lot of men will separate themselves because they're busy and they're going through things. And I think it kind of feels like a cop-out to me, because what I think when somebody does that is that you see your girlfriend as a chore. You see her as another thing to do. She's a part of this list of things that have to get done, or a list of things that require time and effort and energy, rather than just seeing her as this integrated part of your life. And I think that's why for a lot of women, they could be going through something and they could be super busy, but their relationship they don't have to forego their relationship to live their life and to tend to whatever needs their attention. They don't need to let go of their relationship because they're busy. That even sounds dumb. But yeah, they don't have to let go of their relationship when there's a lot going on, because that person is a part of their life. He is an integrated part of her life. He might even just be routine. But I think there is a lot of men who are kind of seeing their girlfriends or seeing relationships in what I personally feel like is the wrong way, where you're seeing her as this extra thing. And I think, of course, when you see your girlfriend as this extra thing that you need to spend money on, an extra thing that you need to spend money on, an extra thing that you need to talk to, an extra thing that you need to give your time to, an extra thing that you need to give your energy to and give your all into, of course, you're gonna want to let it go. Because at the end of the day, a relationship is optional, especially if your boyfriend and girlfriend is optional. So if there's a list of things that are like, they require your time and your energy and your effort, and you can maybe just kind of decrease what's on your plate, why wouldn't you let go of the things that are optional? Like, let's say I'm struggling financially. Maybe I won't pay for my gym membership because it's optional. I don't have to go to the gym. I can let that go. Same thing with the relationship. I am super stressed out right now, and I know that me and this babe, we argue like every other 2 weeks. So you right now, you can take a back seat. You can go somewhere for a second while I focus on the things that are like maybe my job, my uni work, my business. Those are not optional. I have to do that. So I think that's just, oh wow, I'm really preached. I feel like this video, I really cooked here. I cooked today. But yeah, all in all, I think pick who picks you, have your boundaries, be a stable and whole human being before you try to add somebody else into the equation. Don't look for somebody else to complete you, complete yourself. So that is today's Valentine's Day episode. Well, yeah, you know what I mean. That's the sign that I need to wrap this up. Yeah, that is today's post Valentine's Day episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I actually had so much fun talking, like just yapping off. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys feel like you learned something. I hope you guys feel like I said something that was relatable to you, that was true to you, that spoke to you. Like, yes, she said it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I will see you again next week.